Welcome to Digital Training Hub. I'm thrilled to welcome you all to our data protection course. I'm excited to embark on this journey together as we delve into the intricacies of safeguarding data in today's digital age. In a world where data has become one of our most valuable assets, protecting it is paramount. From personal information to sensitive corporate data, understanding the principles and practices of data protection is essential for individuals and organizations alike. We'll explore a wide range of topics, from the fundamentals of data privacy and security to compliance with regulations such as GDPR and CCPA. Through engaging discussions, practical exercises, and real-world case studies, we'll equip ourselves with the knowledge and skills needed to navigate the complex landscape of data protection confidently. Whether you're a seasoned professional looking to enhance your expertise or a newcomer eager to learn, this course offers something for everyone. Our goal is not only to educate but also to empower you to make informed decisions and take proactive measures to safeguard data privacy and security in your personal and professional lives. Data protection refers to the practice of safeguarding sensitive information from unauthorized access, disclosure, alteration, or destruction. It involves implementing measures, policies, and technologies to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. Data protection is crucial in today's digital age due to the increasing volume of data being generated, processed, and stored by organizations, as well as the growing number of cyber threats. Key definitions. Data controller. This means a natural or legal person, public authority, agency, or other body which alone, or jointly with others, determines the purpose and means of processing of personal data. Data processor. This means a natural or legal person, public authority, agency, or other body which alone or jointly with others processes personal data on behalf of the data controller. Personal data. Under the Act, this means any information relating to an identified or identifiable natural person. Under the Kenya Information and Communications Act, personal information includes a person's full name, identity card number, date of birth, gender, physical and postal address. Sensitive data. Under the Act, this means sensitive personal data means data revealing a person's race, health status, ethnic social origin, conscience, belief, genetic data, biometric data, property details, marital status, family details including names of a person's children, parents, spouse or spouses, sex, or sexual orientation. Health data. This means data related to the state of physical or mental health of the data subject, and includes records regarding the past, present, or future state of the health, data collected in the course of registration for, or provision of, health services, or data which associates the data subject to the provision of specific health services. Biometric data. This means any personal data resulting from specific technical processing based on physical, physiological, or behavioral characterization including blood typing, fingerprinting, DNA analysis, earlobe geometry, retinal scanning, and voice recognition. Pseudonymization. This is defined as any form of automated processing of personal data consisting of the use of personal data to evaluate certain personal aspects relating to a natural person, in particular, to analyze or predict aspects concerning that natural person's race, sex, pregnancy, marital status, health status, ethnic social origin, color, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture, dress, language, birth, personal preferences, interests, behavior, location, or movements. Why is data protection important? Data protection is important for several reasons, spanning both individual and organizational perspectives. Point 1. Privacy preservation. Data protection safeguards individuals' privacy rights by ensuring that their personal information is collected, processed, and stored in a manner that respects their privacy preferences and complies with relevant laws and regulations. This fosters trust between individuals and organizations and helps maintain a positive relationship between them. 2. Prevention of identity theft and fraud. Personal data, if mishandled or exposed, can be exploited by malicious actors for identity theft, financial fraud, or other criminal activities. Effective data protection measures help mitigate these risks by limiting unauthorized access to sensitive information and implementing security controls to prevent data breaches. 3. Compliance with regulations. Governments around the world have enacted data protection laws and regulations to protect individuals' privacy rights and ensure fair and transparent data processing practices. Compliance with these regulations, such as the GDPR in Europe or the CCPA in California, is not only a legal requirement but also essential for maintaining the trust of customers and avoiding hefty fines and penalties for non-compliance. 4. Protection of intellectual property. Data protection is not limited to personal data. It also encompasses the protection of sensitive business information, trade secrets, and intellectual property. By implementing data protection measures, organizations can safeguard their valuable assets from unauthorized access, theft, or misuse by competitors or cybercriminals. 5. Maintaining competitive advantage. In today's data-driven economy, organizations rely on data to gain insights, make informed decisions, and innovate. By prioritizing data protection, organizations can differentiate themselves from competitors by demonstrating a commitment to respecting individuals' privacy rights and ensuring the security and integrity of their data assets. 6. Risk management and reputation protection. Data breaches and privacy incidents can have significant financial, legal, and reputational consequences for organizations. Investing in robust data protection measures, including encryption, access controls, and incident response planning, helps mitigate these risks and minimize the potential damage to an organization's reputation and brand. 7. Building customer trust and loyalty. Trust is a cornerstone of customer relationships, and effective data protection practices play a crucial role in building and maintaining that trust. When individuals feel confident that their personal information is being handled responsibly and securely, they are more likely to engage with organizations, share their data, and remain loyal customers over the long term. Overall, data protection is essential for safeguarding individuals' privacy rights, protecting sensitive information, ensuring regulatory compliance, managing risks, and maintaining trust and confidence in the digital age. By prioritizing data protection, organizations can mitigate risks, enhance their reputation, and create a more secure and resilient operating environment for themselves and their stakeholders. Data protection versus privacy versus data security. Data protection, privacy, and security are closely related concepts, but they have distinct meanings and focus areas. Data protection prevents critical information from being corrupted, compromised, or lost. Data privacy limits access to sensitive information and it complies with data protection laws. Data security guards against manipulation and dangerous conduct from internal and external threats. Data protection focus. Data protection concerns safeguarding data from unauthorized access, use, disclosure, alteration, or destruction. Goal. The primary goal of data protection is to ensure that sensitive information remains secure and confidential, whether it's stored, processed, or transmitted. Examples: implementing encryption, access controls, data masking, and data backup procedures are common strategies for data protection. Privacy focus. Privacy focuses on individuals' rights and expectations regarding the collection, use, and sharing of their personal information. Goal. The goal of privacy is to protect individuals' personal data and ensure that it is handled in a transparent, fair, and lawful manner. Examples: privacy practices include obtaining consent before collecting personal data, providing individuals with access to their information, and implementing privacy policies that outline how personal data is used and protected. Security focus. Security encompasses measures taken to protect systems, networks, and data from unauthorized access, disruption, misuse, or damage. Goal. The primary goal of security is to mitigate risks and prevent security breaches or incidents that could compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of information. Examples: security measures include implementing firewalls, antivirus software, intrusion detection systems, multi-factor authentication, and conducting regular security assessments and audits. In summary, data protection focuses on safeguarding data itself, privacy focuses on protecting individuals' rights and personal information, and security focuses on protecting systems, networks, and data from various threats and vulnerabilities. While they overlap in many aspects and are often addressed together, Understanding the distinctions between them is crucial for developing comprehensive strategies to manage and protect information effectively. The data protection landscape encompasses various aspects related to the protection of sensitive information in both regulatory and technological contexts. For example, 1. Regulatory frameworks. There are numerous data protection laws and regulations worldwide, each governing how organizations collect, process, store, and transfer personal data. Prominent examples include the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, in the European Union, the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, in the United States, and the Personal Data Protection Act, PDPA, in Singapore. These regulations set standards for data handling practices, mandate data breach notification requirements, and impose significant penalties for non-compliance. 2. Privacy by design. This approach emphasizes integrating data protection measures into the design and development of systems, products, and services from the outset. By embedding privacy principles into the design process, organizations can proactively address data protection requirements and minimize privacy risks. 3. Data privacy technologies. Advancements in technology have led to the development of various tools and solutions aimed at enhancing data protection. Encryption, tokenization, and anonymization techniques help secure data both at rest and in transit. Identity and access management (IAM) solutions enable organizations to control and manage user access to sensitive data, while data loss prevention (DLP) systems help prevent unauthorized data disclosure. 4. Data governance. Effective data governance frameworks help organizations establish policies, procedures, and controls for managing data throughout its lifecycle. This includes defining data ownership, classification, and retention policies, as well as implementing mechanisms for data quality assurance and auditing. 5. Cross-border data transfers. With the globalization of businesses and cloud computing, cross-border data transfers have become increasingly common. However, transferring personal data across international borders can pose challenges due to differing data protection laws and requirements. Mechanisms such as standard contractual clauses, SCCs, and binding corporate rules, BCRs, help facilitate lawful data transfers between jurisdictions. 6. Data breach response and incident management. Despite robust preventive measures, data breaches can still occur. Organizations must have comprehensive incident response plans in place to detect, respond to, and recover from data breaches effectively. This includes procedures for breach notification, forensic investigation, and remediation to minimize the impact on affected individuals and comply with regulatory requirements. 7. Data ethics and trust. Beyond legal compliance, maintaining trust with customers and stakeholders requires organizations to uphold ethical standards in their data handling practices. Transparency, accountability, and respect for individual privacy rights are essential for building and maintaining trust in the digital age. Overall, navigating the data protection landscape requires a multifaceted approach that encompasses legal compliance, technological safeguards, organizational policies, and ethical considerations. By prioritizing data protection and privacy, organizations can mitigate risks, enhance trust, and demonstrate their commitment to responsible data stewardship. Principles of data protection. The principles of data protection serve as foundational guidelines for ensuring that personal information is handled responsibly, ethically, and securely. While specific principles may vary depending on the regulatory framework or organizational policies, several common principles underpin most data protection laws and best practices. Here are the key principles. 1. Lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. Personal data should be processed lawfully, fairly, and transparently. This means that organizations must have a legal basis for collecting and processing personal data, inform individuals about how their data will be used, and ensure that data processing activities are conducted in a manner that respects individuals' rights and expectations. 2. Purpose limitation. Personal data should be collected for specified, explicit, and legitimate purposes and not further processed in a manner that is incompatible with those purposes. Organizations should clearly define the purposes for which personal data is collected and ensure that any subsequent processing is consistent with those purposes. 3. Data minimization. Only the minimum amount of personal data necessary for the intended purpose should be collected and processed. Organizations should avoid collecting excessive or irrelevant data and should periodically review and delete data that is no longer necessary for the purposes for which it was collected. 4. Accuracy. Personal data should be accurate, complete, and kept up to date to ensure its reliability and relevance for the intended purpose. Organizations should take reasonable steps to ensure the accuracy of the personal data they collect and correct any inaccuracies in a timely manner. 5. Storage limitation. Personal data should be kept in a form that permits identification of individuals for no longer than is necessary for the purposes for which it was collected or processed. Organizations should establish data retention policies that specify how long different types of data will be retained and securely dispose of data that is no longer needed. 6. Integrity and confidentiality. Personal data should be processed in a manner that ensures its security, integrity, and confidentiality. Organizations should implement appropriate technical and organizational measures to protect personal data against unauthorized access, disclosure, alteration, or destruction. 7. Accountability. Organizations are responsible for complying with data protection laws and regulations and must be able to demonstrate compliance through documentation, policies, and procedures. This includes appointing a Data Protection Officer (DPO), where required, conducting data protection impact assessments (DPIAs), and maintaining records of data processing activities. By adhering to these principles, organizations can establish a solid foundation for responsible data handling practices, mitigate risks, and build trust with individuals whose personal data they process. Additionally, compliance with these principles helps organizations avoid legal and reputational consequences associated with data protection violations. Ways which people give out data. 1. When making payment. 2. When there is a need to access services both from government and private institutions such as schools, hospitals, etc. 3. Accessing buildings. 4. Signing up for online services or accounts. 5. Using social media. 6. Online shopping. 7. Using digital apps. Rights of data subjects. Under the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, data subjects are granted several rights to ensure that their personal data is processed fairly and transparently. These rights empower individuals to have control over their personal information and to exercise certain privileges regarding its use. Here are the key rights of data subjects under the GDPR. 1. Right to information. Data subjects have the right to be informed about the collection and use of their personal data. This includes details about the identity of the data controller, the purposes of processing, the legal basis for processing, recipients of the data, and data retention periods. 2. Right of access. Data subjects have the right to access their personal data held by a data controller. They can request information about whether their data is being processed, obtain a copy of their data, and learn about the purposes of processing. 3. Right to rectification. Data subjects can request the correction of inaccurate or incomplete personal data held by a data controller. The controller must rectify the data without undue delay. 4. Right to erasure. Right to be forgotten. Data subjects have the right to request the deletion or removal of their personal data under certain circumstances. This includes situations where the data is no longer necessary for the purpose it was collected, or if the data subject withdraws consent and there is no other legal basis for processing. 5. Right to restriction of processing. Data subjects can request the restriction of processing of their personal data in certain situations. This right applies when the accuracy of the data is contested, the processing is unlawful, or the data is no longer needed but the data subject requests its retention for legal purposes. 6. Right to data portability. Data subjects have the right to receive their personal data in a structured, commonly used, and machine-readable format, and to transmit that data to another data controller without hindrance, where technically feasible. 7. Right to object. Data subjects can object to the processing of their personal data in certain circumstances, such as processing for direct marketing purposes or processing based on legitimate interests. Upon receiving an objection, the data controller must stop processing the data unless there are compelling legitimate grounds for the processing that override the interests, rights, and freedoms of the data subject. 8. Rights related to automated decision-making and profiling. Data subjects have the right not to be subject to decisions based solely on automated processing, including profiling, which produce legal effects or similarly significant effects concerning them. Exceptions apply in certain cases, such as when the decision is necessary for entering into or performing a contract, or when it is based on explicit consent. These rights empower individuals to have greater control over their personal data and to hold data controllers accountable for their data processing practices. Data controllers are required to facilitate the exercise of these rights and respond to data subject requests in a timely and transparent manner, typically within 1 month of receiving the request. As we come to the end of Introduction to Data Protection on this channel, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like and leave a comment below. See you in the next video.